All right, so let's get started here. I have not looked at the higher time frames yet, so let's pull them up and kind of see what's going on. And I do want to jump to the highest time frame I look at again, just to kind of see what we're doing there, and still looks really bullish. Nothing has changed. Of course, you wouldn't expect it to change because it's a 3-month candle, so you're not going to see a lot of granularity there. Monthly as well, still looking really nice. And weekly, again, still looking super bullish. So all three of those super high time frames have absolutely no indications of reversal. And then the daily, what I want to point out here, and this is really great that this happened. If you remember yesterday when we did the morning analysis, we were drawing up to the top of that daily bar, and I said that we still have, the whole day before that bar closes, and so this is going to take time to evolve. And so what ended up happening here is where we were drawing the potential bearish divergence. Remember I said if we don't break that high, which was like 40.92, I forget exactly, I think it was 92.50, something like that. If we don't break the high, then we're going to start to get potential signs of some exhaustion in the push up. But what ended up happening is we did break that high, and now you can see that as that candle finally closed at the end of yesterday, we no longer had divergence because now the RVI was up a little bit higher. And so now we're on this new candle. There's absolutely no sign of exhaustion right now. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have a pullback, or we could have a pullback even though there's no sign of exhaustion. But so far, at least just going from what my signals are telling me, I do not see any indication of reversal from the 3-month all the way down to the daily. So all the high time frames still look really bullish here. Of course, this candle, you can see we've now pulled back from the new all-time high from Globex all the way back down, maybe 20, 25 points, whatever that is. So we'll have to continue to monitor. This candle is going to, again, just like yesterday, evolve all day, and then we'll close at the end of the week. Now, because we're at the end of the week, on Monday, we will have a new weekly candle forming, and this one will officially close. So that weekly will be interesting to look at, as well as this daily, because it will close. So on the 4-hour, we had that bearishness that we were looking at yesterday off of the high, and we did get a pullback to 72.50 yesterday, and that's about all we got, and then we got the bounce. But remember, we were looking at that bullishness off of the overnight low, and what ended up happening was we pushed just a few points below that, and the bullishness is still there from a divergence perspective. And so that's why I told everyone we were looking for longs off of, I forget the exact number. It might have been 72.50, but I think it was off of this 75 quarter. That's, I think, where we took that long, or at least I told you to take that long. And so from this area here, we now have bullish divergence off 72.50 that did push to make a new all-time high in yesterday's Globex. And so we'll see if this carries through. At the moment, on the 4-hour, we did have a little bit more exhaustion build up as we pushed to that new all-time high. And the key thing here is that my strategy stresses looking for continuation patterns when you are in a specific bias. And the bias is extremely bullish here. So as we push, we might start to get exhaustion off the highs, which we have been all week. So at the beginning of April and the end of March, we pushed, and there really wasn't too many signs of exhaustion as we pushed up, but until this week started. And now if you look at this week here, as we push higher and higher, we get exhaustion. But then as we pull back to shallow pullbacks, we get more continuation. So there's a little bit of that coiling going on right now from this 4-hour perspective. But at the moment, there's no sign of, there's a sign of exhaustion, and we got a little bit of a pullback. But we're still looking at this area here from 72.50 where we had the bullish continuation. So ideally that should not break so that this signal holds, but we will have to watch and see, because right now we might even start to get the potential of a bullish continuation off of the current low when this closes at 7 a.m. So we've got, it's very close. It's not quite an exotic divergence, but it's almost there. So we're going to have to monitor that low coming into the morning here. So let's jump down to the shorter intermediate time frames and see what they're saying. We did have that bearish signal off this high from the 30-minute down. On the 60-minute, I don't quite see it. So 60-minute didn't really confirm that bearish signal to the downside, but we did get this pullback, and right now we have the same situation on the 1 hour that we do on the 4 hour. So we're going to have to monitor it. It's getting close to the point where if RVI pulls back just a little bit more and price does not break 72.50, we will then have that bullish continuation pattern. So we'll have to watch and see here coming into the open if we can hold 72.50. That's going to be an important level here. So let's dial down, see if we get any better indications here from a 30-minute perspective. And the 30-minute, it had that bullish push from kind of 4 a.m. Pacific, and then we got that bearish pattern, and it broke down and broke the continuation pattern that we had. So right now we're basically looking at the same situation as the 1 hour and the 4 hour. The 72.50 is going to be important to hold in order for our bull signal to carry through from those higher, or at least mid-high time frames. And so we'll see if this can carry through, and we'll watch the shorter time frames to see if we can then get a nice reversal signal here. At the moment, from a 30-minute perspective, there also really is not much. I mean, you could make the argument, no, you really can't. Yeah, there's really not much to be said. We just have to hold this 72.50, or what the low might actually be 73 even. So really that 73 area needs to hold. From a 10-minute, you can kind of make an argument that we're starting to get a bullish continuation here. As you can see, RVI has gotten pretty exaggerated compared to all the lows that we've been making for the last, at least the last 3 days. So we're much lower on RVI, and so this could be the beginning of what could be a reversal. And what I preferably would like to see here from a 10-minute perspective is for price to pull back, make a slightly lower low here, and then watch RVI kind of do something here where it makes a higher low, and then we get that reversal pattern. So price comes down here, and then we have this lower low but a higher low on the 10-minute. So that would be nice, at least for me, and I definitely will be watching for something like that. So right now, from our higher time frames, we don't have any signs of reversal. And remember, yesterday we said the same thing. There were no signs that the market was done going higher, and we ultimately pushed to make a new all-time high going into Globex. And I think actually that, at the end of yesterday, we ended up pushing to make a new all-time high at 98.50, and then pulled back in Globex and pushed to make another all-time high. So from that higher time frame perspective, again, we're still not really seeing any signs of this being the top. So we do want to keep that in mind. That does not mean we can't have a little bit of a pullback here. But unfortunately, at the moment, because of the way the charts are right now, I don't have a definitive turn in the market, but we have 15 minutes until the open. So we'll monitor these short time frames and see if we can start to get a clear bias right into the open. Some mornings it's going to be extremely clear that we're going to have a bull push or a bear push. Some mornings it might be a little bit more ambiguous. So we still have our short time frames to follow for some really good entries that could then turn into bigger moves. So let's just take a look at the 3-minute. From the 3-minute perspective, that really wasn't a clear reversal signal off of 81. So I would not be surprised, again, even from that 10-minute perspective, to see price come down and make a lower low compared to where we are at 81 here. And then the indicator makes a higher low, and you get that really nice classic divergence reversal signal. So we'll have to kind of keep that in mind here if price does continue to pull back. Right now, from a 3-minute perspective, I don't see any signs of reversal, although we're at a nice key level here, and we could potentially see that on our 512 or our 1 minute here. And so the 512, it definitely has what looks to be somewhat of a reversal pattern forming here. And you could even make the argument on the 1 minute. So we'll see here what happens. Sometimes what you'll see is price pulls back, pushes to make a higher high, or maybe even pushes around the 200, and then you get a really clear classic divergence for that push down to break the low at 81. So we'll watch here. We got over 10 minutes, so things definitely have time to develop.